Rogers is an autistic boy. He's 15 years old. He's been missing from Hendersonville, Tennessee. And everybody has been looking for him. Everybody. He is 5 foot 5 inches tall. He weighs 120 pounds. Sandy blonde hair, and he wears glasses. And again, there is no footprint of him whatsoever.
You think back, and there might have been a reason he was possibly upset or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside. Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I haven't been able to figure it out. That morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving.
This boy, I've done told y'all, reminds me of my son that had autism, that is my third son. And he disappeared right down the road from part of where my family lives. And I take all of these cases serious. I am not playing about anything right now.
The original thinking was that Sebastian Rogers left home on his own, but the fact that he disappeared without a trace now has authorities looking into the very real possibility of foul play.
I'm not trying to accuse them of anything. I'm trying to tell you how suspicious they are now becoming. Ooh, I was muted. Brown Eyes Girl #1. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Roxy D and Lindsay Nelson. Show Poodles. Hello, hello. Look at that beautiful poodle. Daniel Berry Sports Light. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Connie. Hello, hello. Susie Little. Hello. Busy Mama, hello out there. Melanie, hello. Terry Parker, hello. Hope you had a great day. It was okay. It was good. It was a beautiful day. And Ohio Stephanie, hello. Good evening. Good evening. Love wins. Hello, hello. Hello, Elaine. Gigi of 2, hello. And Elizabeth, hello, hello. Denise, hi. The Hen House, hello. Smiley and Mods and everyone in chat. Hello, hello. Susie Little, Deanna Downey, Diane Sanders, hello. Margaret Chappell, hello. Good evening and happy Tuesday. Hello, hello, number 27. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up. Debbie W. Hey, Smiley. Hey, Debbie W. K Mac. Good to see you. Elizabeth. Great to see everybody. Good to see you. Hello, hello. I hope everybody's doing good tonight. Still May 13th. May 13th. Arnie Rose. Hello, beautiful. How did I miss you? Mama, hello, hello. Great to see everybody. Hope Floats 31. Hey, hey. Hey, I'm so glad to see y'all here. Lorraine Law, hello, hello. Hello, hello. You got to put them pink hands there sometimes so I can see them. Sharon, hello, hello, hello. Hello from Smiley's Voice here. The golden voice. Remember the guy with the golden voice? Whatever happened to him? Whatever happened to that guy? He was the guy with the golden voice. Remember him? Oh my gosh. I just thought of that. The guy with the golden voice. Yeah. They picked him up off the street, honey. He made him some money. Some money, honey. Hello, hello. The guy with the golden voice. I can't do it. I can't do it. Some people have all the luck. Yeah, it finally stopped raining here. It was a beautiful day today. I had an appointment today, and then I got out. I got my yellow nails green. I got a dark green today. I got a dark green on my nails today. I got out. I had lunch with hubby. Let's see, what else did I do? Hubby and son. I called them both. I'm like, meet me. I had both. And I just got finished eating supper. Probably, I should have brushed my teeth. I didn't, so I probably got pecans in there. Had another, actually, California salad with pecans. I honored my mom again by eating that. That was her favorite. Had the fruits and the salad, salad with the fruits and all that. Last time I had, she didn't like the meat on there though. Margaret, hello, coming in. This time I had a sirloin on top of it. I'm doing better. Yeah, Ted Williams, that was him. The man with the golden voice. Let me see if I can pull him up. Let's see what happened to him. That was him. Let's see. "67 years old. "2024. Tragedy gets sadder and sadder." Let's see what's happening with him.
The odds by becoming a viral sensation known as the man with a golden voice. But his rags to riches story is anything but a fairy tale. From living on the streets to struggling with addiction, Williams had a long, difficult path to fame. The story of Ted Williams reads almost like a modern fairy tale. He was discovered by pure chance in 2011 as an unhoused man begging for money in the middle of a road in Columbus, Ohio. The journalist taking the video was just looking for a good scoop and asked Williams to show off the God-given golden voice he advertised on his handwritten sign.
I'm going to make you work for your dollar. Say something with that great radio voice.
When you're listening to nothing but the best of oldies, you're listening to Magic 98.9.
The video on Williams' smooth baritone quickly went viral, racking up millions of views. Nearly overnight, Williams was being approached with offers for work in radio and voiceover. Almost instantly, he was something of a celebrity, and his future seemed set. In reality, though, that future wasn't exactly smooth sailing. As a young man, Williams didn't exactly have the best relationship with his father. To put it simply, his father didn't approve of his youthful ambitions to make it as a radio broadcaster. And so, in an active youth,
this is grunge. Please subscribe.
17.
Drop,
as he explained in his biography,
drop grunge
voice,
link.
Things didn't go smoothly.
GRUNGE.
Williams saw a future of meaningless work that would take him nowhere toward his goals. He started drinking and eventually became something of a black market dealer for his fellow soldiers, acquiring items for them and making sales without authorization. His activities eventually caught up to him, but his commanding officers liked him enough to simply send him away with a dishonorable discharge. Williams' life includes long-term addiction issues. For the most part, that was drug addiction, specifically to crack cocaine. However, that wasn't Williams' only form of addiction. In reality, Williams had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol long before cocaine ever entered his life. In Williams' biography, he mentioned that it went back to his childhood. He was 8 years old when he began sneaking sips of his father's alcohol, and it only escalated from there. Williams even started buying vodka to go with his school lunches.
Hey,
alcohol became something of a crutch for him.
Linda, everybody coming in.
It was a way for him to get away from the abuse he faced from his father, but it was also a way for him to feel like he was an independent, confident adult. It allowed him to let loose and have fun with his peers or those older than him. After being discharged from the Army, Williams managed to land his dream job, primetime spot as a radio announcer at a news station in Columbus, Ohio.
He's got that voice,
Everything
honey.
seemed to be going well, at least on the surface. Back at home, he still had his substance abuse issues. By chance, he smoked a joint with crack cocaine in it, and from that moment on, Williams was hooked. Like alcohol beforehand, it became a form of escapism for him, but it began to take over his life. It didn't take long for his addiction to start affecting his career. The radio show he'd longed for became an obstacle he had to get through. All he wanted to do was finish his show as quickly as possible and meet his dealer.
Please.
After just 2 months on the radio, he gave up his dream job so that he could devote every hour of every day to using crack with his girlfriend. Since finding fame, Williams has been open about the low points of his life, including the stints that he did in prison.
Yes, I just wondered, we were speaking about it, I just wondered what happened to him.
He needed the money to help fund his addiction, so he turned to petty theft. It started right after he lost his job at the radio station, when he did his best to swipe all their CDs on his way out the door. His dealer at the time really loved music, and that mattered more than any burned bridges. From then on, he turned more and more towards shoplifting, cobbling together $20 at a time. But this wasn't some thrilling life of crime. crime, the kind of thing depicted in movies. Sure, he'd use his charms to talk his way past cashiers and
Hey,
take his
Cyber
spoils
Warrior.
to local nightclubs where he'd become known as a small-time supplier. He even kept a list of clients in his head and took jobs as they came in. But this was just shoplifting at the request of normal people, nothing glamorous. As Williams wrote in his book, robbing banks? No, not me. I stole detergent, deodorant, toothpaste, and soap.
It's grunge, Grunge.
Because it was a small container. Williams has 9 kids in total and has talked about his strained relationships with them. He told Good Morning America in 2011.
From time to time, they would say, Daddy, you're just wasting your talent. Or, Daddy, if I had a voice like that, I would be doing this, that, and the other.
And his children have understandable reasons to be upset. Williams' oldest daughters remember him taking alcohol to work, then never coming home, or smoking crack in the park in front of them. Even after his daughters grew up, things didn't get better. In his book, Williams even recalled one occasion in which he started eating the baby food his daughter had bought, despite knowing that it was wrong. His daughter was a struggling single mother after all, so he literally took food from his own grandchild. Then there were also his sons, who were born around the time his addiction to crack began. In fact, his youngest son, Terrell, was actually born while Williams' girlfriend was in prison. Williams wrote in his book, I picked Terrell up, walked out of the hospital, took the bus to my aunt's house, and left him there. Around the same time, his older son Desmond was with
this
Williams'
is the
mother.
man with the
Eventually,
golden
Williams and his
voice.
girlfriend
Remember,
got Desmond and Terrell
they got him
back,
off the
but
street.
far
He was
from
holding a
home.
street
Terrell
sign.
was fed nothing but sugar water.
I was
Williams
just
and his
wondering what
girlfriend even
happened
took
to
food
him.
meant for the
We're
kids
just
back
watching
to
a
the
brief
store
video.
and returned it so they could buy more drugs. Even without further context, just knowing that Williams missed his own father's funeral is pretty tragic.
You're
There's
fine,
more
we
to the
got
story
it.
than that. A fact that makes quite a bit of sense when you know that Williams was deep into
This
his drug
wasn't
addiction
planned.
at
I
the time
just,
of his
I
dad's
just want
death.
to show it
His
for a
family
minute.
really tried to support him at the time, doing everything they could to get him there. His mother even sent him money to travel. Williams' aunt and uncle made all the necessary arrangements, setting him up with a hotel. However, Williams never showed up to the funeral. Instead, he'd spend all the intended travel money on more drugs. Things changed between Williams and his mother after that. She refused to hear his apologies for a full year. In his book, Williams recalled her first words to him. She said to him, "You could not even stand with me. You could not even be there when I lost my husband. Goodbye." When she said that, I felt it in my soul. I disgraced the memory of my father, but I'd also betrayed my mama. Couldn't escape it. In recalling the first few years of his life, Williams often made it sound like there wasn't really anything wrong. He wrote in his book, "Those first years, though I was still smiling, saying, 'It's all right, people. Ted Williams is fine,' even though nobody was fooled, because I was fooled. I believed it. To survive some days, I had to believe it. And after those first few years, well, he openly admitted that lying about his attitude became more of a habit than anything else, and a hard one to break at that. But even when he couldn't quite lie to himself anymore, he still wanted to lie to everyone around him. He wanted them to believe that he was smart, happy, and harbored no shame over what was happening. Over time, after seeing how his family wanted better for him, he could eventually admit the truth. He wrote in his book, "I was nothing more than a broken man desperately hustling for the next fix." Williams was swept up in his huge media frenzy after going viral. Job offers, interviews, the works.
Remember he went
but as he
viral?
explained on the Tamron Hall show, he'd barely been clean and sober for 30 days when that video was taken and jobs were being thrown his way. He started signing a bunch of contracts for gigs, agents, and lawyers, and it all just proved too much for him. Twice in 2011 alone, he ended up relapsing and started to drink again, something that he admitted to while speaking with Dr. Phil. Following that admission, he voluntarily checked into rehab. He didn't actually stay for long, which prompted some concern. Williams explained his actions, telling E! News, "I walked out of treatment because it was a little scripted, I felt. There was no anonymity. I'm going to try and truly get back into the swing of things." As time has passed, Williams does seem to have kept that promise. As of his 2021 interview with Hall, he'd been sober again for years.
Mally Cat, thank you so much.
I don't want people to think of me as I left this earth that I was a crackhead. I want them to see the impact.
Well, fame certainly exacerbated Williams' addiction issues.
Thank you
It
for
did
your
seem like it would
membership.
solve his
That was
financial
so kind
issues.
of you.
Makes sense, given that he was flooded with job offers, became the spokesman for Kraft Macaroni and Cheese, got his own weekly radio show, and was given a nearly $400,000 advance on his biography. Despite that, money remained a problem. Sure, he had his own apartment to stay in, but that apartment wasn't even furnished. And by 2014, he admitted that he was broke. Things only went downhill again from there. As his finances kept getting tighter, Williams found himself homeless once again in 2014. And even in 2021, he told Tamron Hall that he was actually still without his own home.
I own nothing. I own nothing.
Though he didn't go into detail, he did reveal that his stints in prison made it hard for him to get a home, and that his situation hadn't changed much in the past 7 years. He wasn't out on the streets and was staying with a friend at the time of the interview. However, he did have hope for the future and was grateful that he and his family had fully reconciled over the years. Who hasn't thought about how cool it would be to go viral? It's a tantalizing thought for many of us, but Williams has found that internet fame is sort of a double-edged sword. On one hand, he is grateful that the whole thing happened, according to a golden voice. He recognizes that his video going viral changed his life for the better, but at the same time, he explains that he can hardly watch the clip that made him famous. Williams wrote in his biography, "The world might hear a homeless man with a golden voice, but I see a version of myself I don't like." To him, all he saw was himself at his lowest, a reminder of exactly how bad things were, and one that he can't ignore or deny. There was no hiding that he was desperate and willing to do anything for $1, not to mention the fact that he'd thrown away the life he'd once had. That said, he's lightheartedly recognized other drawbacks to fame as well, explaining to Tamron Hall that sometimes he wishes he hadn't gone viral. Williams told the host, "There are people that I see on the streets of Columbus, Ohio that from time to time, 'Hey, are you that dude?' And then, 'Let's take a selfie,' and I'm in the middle of eating." If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP-4357.
Being
Well,
a big name actor.
I guess that answers that. That's sometimes what I try to tell y'all on here about different things. I wanted to see that because we were just kind of playing around. I'm like, oh, the man with golden voice. Wonder what happened to him. Thank you, Mally Cat. Thank you. But y'all remember him. I'm glad I watched that because that's what I've been trying to tell y'all. And sometimes, that's what happens. I'm glad we saw that because you're going to need me to solve this case. I don't know if I can solve this case or not. I don't think I'm going to be the one to solve this case, honey, by no means. But, and thank you, Mally Cat. But, some people, they count their chickens before they're hatched. And sometimes, I'm going to say a couple of things. And sometimes fame is not all it's cracked up to be. Sometimes money is not everything. I could go on and on and on and on, but do y'all kind of get my drift? And this man, what did they say he had? Millions, and he's lost everything. Again, it's just like jail. Sometimes people are just accustomed to some things that it don't matter. It don't matter. Okay. Money can't buy everything. I'm just saying. That's just a little tidbit tonight. Okay. Let's see what Nancy says. Smiley, I'm going to need you to solve this case. I just can't take it no more. Someday I'll be a member. Honey, you don't worry about that. Don't worry. You don't have to be a member. Listen, if I know, you're going to know eventually. Okay? Eventually. Don't worry about it. But tonight we are going to talk about Sebastian because I am going to keep him out. I don't care what these others are doing. Okay? We're going to keep Sebastian out. But hello, everybody. Golden voice or not, Smiley's going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you about Sebastian. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Dear Sumner County, Sebastian Rogers is missing. Hello? Here's your sign. Here's your sign. Hello. Anybody home? Hello. Just wondering. Hey, Harley. I tell you. And for those who didn't notice, I just pointed it out today. Some didn't even notice when I am talking about Jack and Lily. Let me take my pointer. I still have Sebastian's name running right here. I still have this running and I have not changed it. Just FYI. Okay? Because I want people to remember Sebastian is still missing. Sebastian's still missing. I'm not going to forget Sebastian. Okay? I'm not going to. He's going to be on here somewhere. Not going to. So I figured, let it run across, even if I'm talking about other kids. Hey, just me. So welcome everybody coming in. I hope you've all had a fabulous day. I hope everything's going well for you. We're going to get to Dear Sumner County in a bit. May 13th, 2025. Let's talk some more about Sebastian. I want to keep his name and face out there. You don't need to see my face. Let's look at Sebastian. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, $50,000 reward from the FBI, $450,000 from At Night and their crew, making it a $500,000 reward total altogether. Some don't understand that. That's fine. But the reward is there. 5'5", 120 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, male, white. He wears glasses. He could be wearing contacts now. We don't know. Hey, Jen, good to see you. Good to see everybody coming in. Hey, Kiki. But let's talk some more about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, shall we? We know he's still missing. And I'm going to continue to talk about him until. What happened to Sebastian? We don't know yet. I said yet. We have our theories and our speculations and our own opinions, and that's fine. We can. I can. You can. They can. Who is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers? Well, I can tell you this. He's somebody who deserves to be found. He should be home right now. He should be with his dad, Seth Rogers, right now, in my opinion. He don't deserve to be out there wherever he's at right now. Oh, when I said just me, who is he? Money. That seems to be the case with some people, right? Just saying. Sebastian is a handsome young man that the world is looking for. We are all on edge day and night. I can tell you that. Yeah, brown eyes. In my opinion, they said there's tons of evidence, then why no arrest? Dear Sumner County, why no arrest? We are on edge day and night. We're checking our phones. We're checking our computers. We're checking our emails. We're checking our text, our voicemails. We're checking in with the news on the TBI page, even Sumner County page. We're checking others' platforms, their videos. We're checking with friends, with mods. We're checking with anybody for any updates and any breadcrumbs. Anything new, anything on Sebastian, any hope, anything. Has he been found? Is there any updates, any arrest, anything? Nada. Crickets. Same thing. Day after day after day. Nothing. It makes me sad. It makes me heartbroken. Dear Sumner County, are you heartbroken? You look like it at the vigil. Some of you did. The ones that did show up for the vigil. Dear Sumner County, why no grand jury? Good question. You can get a grand jury for little ladies. Yep, crickets. That's sad, K-Mac. Yep, why? Why? It makes me sad. It makes me heartbroken. And I bet Mom and Stepdad, Katie Proudfoot, Christopher Proudfoot, I bet they're jumping for joy, celebrating, in my opinion. Many fist pumps or bumps or whatever they're calling it these days, that everyone is covering Jack and Lily in Canada. But guess what? We have not forgot Sebastian. Don't laugh too long. Because that's what you are. That's what you are for laughing. Dear Sumner County, they're laughing. They're laughing at you. They're laughing at me. They're laughing at all of these creators. They're laughing. But guess what? I'm not going anywhere. But guess what? Dear Sumner County, dear crime community, they're laughing, and they're laughing at the expense of all missing children and all missing people, and they're laughing at the expense of the police department, and they're laughing at the expense of Jack and Lily and everybody else. Thank you, Kiki, for covering Sebastian. Thank everybody that is still covering Sebastian. Because there's very few. I can count them on my fingers. Probably one hand. All the circumstances surrounding Sebastian's disappearance are unclear and very suspicious. Stepdad allegedly out of town at a job for work. Mom home alone with Sebastian after a huge day, an exhausting day for anyone, in my opinion. That was February 25th, 2024. Then Katie spent hours. He does need found. Then Katie spent hours on the phone with her husband, she loves, while telling Sebastian to go to bed at an unnormal time, but hey, for a 15-year-old, but he did as he always does. Good night, Mom. Good night, puppies. That was the story. I love you. There's been so many changes to the story, though. I can't personally recall. I usually remember everything this important, but I can't. Maybe somebody can help me out here. Do y'all remember in one of her 10,000 stories? Now, let's be fair. In one of her 10 stories, did she ever say, I love you back? I don't remember, honestly. It's been changed more times than she probably changed drawers, if she even wears any. I can't recall. I didn't think so, Whispering Winds. Not that I recall. Sad. Sad to think you have a missing kid and you couldn't even, that's one thing you couldn't lie about. You couldn't even lie. You can lie about everything else, but you couldn't even lie to say you told him you loved him back. But that don't hurt you. That don't break your heart. You saw your child for the last time, but you didn't tell him, I love you too. That would rip me. That would rip me so bad. I would never get over it. It wouldn't be the part that I didn't say I love you, or I didn't get the chance to say I love you. It would be that he told me he loved me and I didn't say it back. That would be the part that would kill me forever. Right, Kiki? But she laughs. She laughs every chance she gets. How sad. There's been too many story changes out of his own mother and stepfather's own darn mouth. Or maybe, again, she was just too darn into that phone call. Hey, Bo. Or now I'm wondering, and I have to ask, hey, Spade, did Sebastian even make it home? Now, even I have to ask that. Dear Sumner County, which one is it? Did Sebastian really make it home? Katie, where is Sebastian? What is the true story? What's the true story of what happened that night, February 25th? All anyone wants to know, is he okay? Is Sebastian okay? Maybe we can all move on. We all want to move on. We want to give Seth closure. We, the world, want closure. We don't want to study this case for years to come. So tell your husband, Chris Proudfoot, we don't want to study this case for years to come. Nobody wants that. And if Chris wants to study this case and wants a case to study for years to come and be in the limelight or to be known, tell him to go back to California and get in the damn movie business. How about that? This is real life. Nobody don't want to be here years to come on this case. Not like this. Chris, the stepdad, as you know, has been more vocal than Katie, the mom. Chris is the one who called police from Memphis the next morning on February 26, 2024, when Sebastian's mom called him and not the police. That's very bothersome. And told him she couldn't find him. That was one of the stories. Chris made a three-way call, but not to 911, but to a direct line at Sumner County Police Department. Did he or his family know people there? Well, it's been said, but we don't know. We can't prove it. Or did his family know people there? I don't know, but I'm fixing to tell you what I do know. Perk your ears up. Why couldn't Katie just dial 911? Why was she so worried about Chris, 3 hours away, who could do nothing if he wanted to, even if it was his own son? He couldn't do nothing if he wanted to. By all accounts, he couldn't even tolerate Sebastian, her son. He was ready to divorce her and allegedly just gave her recently an ultimatum, allegedly, to choose him or choose her son. And he said, allegedly, he hoped she chose her son. But she called Chris, not 911. And not his bio dad, his only dad, his flesh and blood dad, who was a correction officer at the Davidson County Jail and on duty that night. And she knew it. Make it make sense, because anybody else would have thought, let me call. It would have been common sense to think, by him working at Davidson County Metro Police Department, he might have not have had no pull, but damn it, it's a police department. I'm sure they know people. Hey, Dirty Diana and everybody coming in. They could have had some kind of pull with Sumner County, with all the police departments in Tennessee, and for a fellow officer or a fellow co-worker or whatever, a damn janitor in there, they would have pulled every string they could to help find his son and rush things up. Not Katie, though, not the mother. She calls somebody 3 hours away, not even dialing 911, because why? That would be registered right there. Not Chris. It would pick up where he was at. None of that shit. Katie's not dumb. Plus, Katie knew how to call ever since Seth worked there. She knew how to call inside that jail and bypass everything and talk to anybody over Seth all the uppers, anybody that needed to get in touch with Seth or how she could get in touch with Seth in an emergency. She knew that. She had every number to get an urgent message to him or get in touch with him as soon as possible. She didn't even try. She hated Seth that bad. Or was it Seth she hated that bad? I'm not sure. Instead, she didn't even dial 911. She called someone 3 hours away who could not help if they wanted to, who put her on mute and dialed a direct line 3-way and did the talking and was not even there. But guess what? People back in the earlier days was so pissed off about Craddock not doing his job, going on and on about being replaced at election time and so about putting all the shenanigans on the Sumner County webpage and all that. There was this lady named, well, her name is Jennifer. Some might remember that and some might not. I won't say her last name. I can, but we'll just call her by her first name, Jennifer. So Jennifer says, Jennifer got pissed off and took up for Craddock. Actually, she took up for all of them. So Jennifer says, well, let me just tell you exactly what she said. She says, and she's speaking to somebody else, but she says, I was their dispatcher. Was you now, Jennifer? I was their dispatcher during that time. And comments like this are offensive because I know how much they all care. And I saw the manpower put into finding him and all kids who go missing. And the fact that people who know nothing can sit back and make these statements is irritating at the least. They're good people doing very hard jobs and deserve praise and not uninformed criticism. Then somebody said something, and so somebody said, please give an answer to what happened to Sebastian Rogers. I hope Craddock is replaced come election time. See, she speaks again. Okay, so that's the same thing. She repeats it again. I was their dispatcher, same thing. Well, Jennifer, I'll tell you what's irritating, Jennifer. You know what's irritating? When I go to your Facebook, Jennifer, well, and you're not a dispatcher anymore, by the way, and you moved and you're down in Madison now. There's a couple of things that's irritating. It's irritating that when you did this and you have your Cash App and your Venmo up, right there, that's irritating. Was somebody paying you? And then, Jennifer, what else was irritating is when did you take that call and I noticed you graduated from the same place Christopher Proudfoot did. Did you know Christopher Proudfoot? Is that why he dialed in to that straight number that morning, Jennifer? Did Chrissy Poo and you know each other? Was you friendly? Or was it a fluke? Because it could have been a fluke, according to your Facebook. Y'all graduated. I don't know, though. You kind of do look a little bit older than him. It might be that weight you have on you. Sometimes that kind of makes you look older. I don't know. Just saying. Jennifer S. And to do all this under the Sumner County page. Jesus, you're sloppy. Sloppy. Just saying. But it could have just been a dispatcher speaking out for Craddock. No, maybe Craddock's wife needs to watch out. Just saying. Dear Sumner County. Wonder why Jennifer don't have a job anymore. I'm just wondering. I just want to know. Just thinking out loud. Hey, Frank. Everybody coming in? I just want to know, where is the urgency to find Sebastian and not calling 911 first and driving with the windows up? I'm speaking on the mother. Down the block don't count. Stepfather texting the dad before he gets off from work, knowing he can't have his phone, don't count. Leaving a message to call him. When he gets off from work and he calls him and he says, don't be mad. That don't work. That's a little bit suspicious if you ask me. Red flags, red flags. Not coming home right away to your wife that you love and you want to protect and your family. That's a lot. Says a lot. Red flags, red flags. No sense of urgency. Oh, Sockfoot Granny talking about gifts, necklaces. It's just bizarre. All of it's just bizarre. Being on the street at what, 5:30 something? Bizarre. Not normal. Not normal. In the meantime, the world is waiting and watching and wants to know exactly what is being done. Dear Sumner County, what is being done? Yeah, dear Sumner County, why no presser? The world is waiting and watching. What is actually being done by law enforcement and parents to find Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, who's been missing 15 months. We're going to watch a couple of videos. And then I got a few more Dear Sumner Counties.
subscribe to this channel to get early access to the weekly analysis episodes, video episodes so you can see the statements as I analyze them, and exclusive content
Never
too.
a truer
If
word.
you're here on YouTube, then become a member of the channel to get early access to everything and exclusive content not available anywhere else. The mother of missing boy Sebastian Rogers has given a new interview to mark the 1-year anniversary of his disappearance. And as someone who studies words and the words that people use, some of the things she says make me curious.
We are never going to stop searching.
Welcome to Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, using my statement investigation process, which anyone can use to understand what people are saying and writing around them much more clearly. So, Sebastian Rogers went missing a year ago. His mum, Katie Proudfoot, has given a new interview to mark that year anniversary. Thank you to the person that put this in my inbox, because they know I've studied Katie Proudfoot before. My conclusions when I looked at some of the interviews that she gave around the time that Sebastian went missing were that she knew why Sebastian had gone missing. I think it was a strict household. I think Sebastian and herself had some sort of confrontation the night before it was reported that he was missing, that she saw him leave, and she's not saying that part out loud. So what does this new interview reveal? Let's dig into it. Let's have a look at the words and let's hear what Katie has to say. Now, the first thing I want you to listen to here is the tense she uses to describe Sebastian.
Cats are the number one. He loves animals, almost all animals. He loves water. He swims like a fish.
Oh, that drives me nuts.
So here she's using the present tense. Cats are the number one. He loves animals, almost all animals. He loves water. He swims like a fish. So this is the present tense to describe Sebastian. Very much what you would expect if she was aware that Sebastian was still alive. She would use that present tense. It would be a reassuring thing, because sometimes when you hear from the loved one of a missing person and they know that something has happened to that missing person, that that person is not with us anymore, then they slip into past tense, even though the concept should be that this person is still with us. However, that changes further on in the interview.
December 7th. He turned 16, and
oh my God, Lisa, I'm so sorry, honey.
For that.
So Katie says there, December 7th, he would have, and then there's a long pause. He turned 16 and he should have been home for that. So there she uses the past tense. He would have. And what I think has gone on there is that she realizes that she used the past tense, because she pulls herself up short. She almost doesn't say all of the have there. December 7th, he would have, is kind of what she says. And then he turned 16 and he should be home for that. But there she slipped into the past tense to describe Sebastian. I don't think she thinks that Sebastian turned 16 on December the 7th. What does all that mean? Well, let's go through some more that has been said here by Katie.
Did anything happen the night he went missing that was like caused him to run away? Was he punished in any way? An argument? Just a normal night?
It was a normal night. It was a calm night.
Okay, so there it's put to her, did anything happen the night he went missing that caused him to run away? Was he punished in any way? An argument? Just a normal night? And Katie says, it was a normal night. It was a calm night. Now, the word normal always raises my flags detection, because people don't notice things that are normal often. However, in this case, the word normal's in the question. So it's normal to, excuse the pun, it's usual to reflect back the words that are in the question. So normal doesn't concern me there, because it is put to her, was it just a normal night? And she says, it was a normal night. And then she says, it was a calm night. Why does she feel the need to point out it was a calm night? Because a lot is put to her there. Did anything happen that caused him to run away? She doesn't deal with that part of the question at all. Look, maybe it was edited out, to be fair to Katie, but she doesn't deal with the fact that she's asked, was he punished in any way? Did anything happen that caused him to go missing? And she doesn't say, no, none of those things happened. She just says it was a normal night, reflecting back the question. And then she feels the need to tell us it was a calm night. Now, why does she feel that need to tell us that it was a calm night? Why does she feel the need not to deal with, did anything happen that caused him to run away? Why does she feel the need not to take on the question, the part of the question that was he punished in any way? Let's get some more from Katie.
What do you believe happened to Sebastian?
Unfortunately, over the last year, I have thought every single day, night, every moment of every possibility of something that could happen to him, where he could have gone, if he had gone with someone, if someone took him willingly, unwillingly, if he'd run away and got lost, if he'd a million different things. And unfortunately, I don't know.
Right. Lots in that answer. It's one of the longest ones that we'll hear in the interview. What do you believe happened to Sebastian? And she says, unfortunately, over the last year, I have thought every single day, night, every moment of every possibility of something that could have happened to him, where he could have gone, if he had gone with someone, if someone took him willingly, unwillingly, if he'd run away and got lost, if he'd a million different things. And unfortunately, I don't know. Twice she says unfortunately. Now just let's break down what this answer is. It's what do you believe happened to Sebastian? And her answer is at the very end there, I don't know. Why is that unfortunate? It could just be a simple, straightforward answer of I don't know. But twice she says, unfortunately, I don't know, as if she's having to say, I wish I knew, but I don't know. But she doesn't say that out loud. She uses that word, unfortunately, twice. So I'm curious about that. I'm also curious about just how long it takes her to say, I don't know. Instead of just saying, I don't know, she has to tell us how hard she has worked to get to this place of, I don't know. In other words, she has to persuade us that she's considered every single possibility and that the I don't know is not just a natural thing of I don't know what's happened. But what we've got instead is this, I've really thought hard about this. Look, every single day, night, every moment, every possibility, and she's working hard to persuade us here that she's worked hard on this to come up with I don't know. Look at priorities. The first thing we say in a list is quite often the most important thing to us. And she says, I've been thinking of every possibility of something that could happen to him. Where he could have gone is the first thing. Then if he's gone with someone, then if someone took him willingly, then unwillingly, and then if he run away and got lost. Well, the first thing she says in all of that is where he could have gone. So I think that is her most likely scenario in her head. Maybe the most likely because it is the most likely of all the ones she's considered, or it could be the most likely because she knows that's what happened, that he went somewhere that night. But certainly for me, the top priority in her head is thinking that he's gone somewhere, which means he went of his own volition and left there. If you look at the end, when she's listing all of these, she says, if he'd, and as if she's going to say another suggestion, but she can't think of any other suggestions. So she then goes on to say a million different things, just a catch-all phrase. But before that, she says, if he'd run away and got lost. And that's the last thing that she has to say. So again, is that if he'd run away and got lost, and then she can't think of anything else because that is what she either knows or what she strongly suspects has happened. Where he could have gone, he run away and got lost. I think that is very much where she's at with this one, and she has that knowledge. But I do want you to notice just how many words it takes to answer the question. What do you believe happened to Sebastian? I don't know. But however, she explains us how hard she's worked. She tells us all the possibilities she's thought of. And then she says, I don't know at the very end of it. That, for me, is a contrived answer, and I think shows a lot about what is going on in Katie's head. Also, she's not asked, what do you think happened to Sebastian? But it's what do you believe? And she doesn't quite take on the believe part of it ever. Let's get some more from Katie Proudfoot.
What do police tell you at this point? What do they think?
Unfortunately, that they have zero evidence.
Another interesting answer. What do police tell you at this point? What do they think? Then there's a long pause before she answers, and she says, unfortunately, that they have zero evidence. So let's break that down now. That long pause. What do police tell you at this point? What do they think? The long pause Why does she have to think for a long time before saying what the police are telling her, where the police are at? Why is there that long pause there? Is this the fact that she's not wanting to say the first thing that comes into her head, which is the truth, which is what the police are saying or what the police have let onto her? And instead she's thinking, how do I word this in a way that works out for me? Very potentially, that's what's happening. She says, unfortunately, so we have that word again. And then they have zero evidence. Evidence in this scenario is evidence of bad things happening more than likely, not nice things happening. They have zero evidence. Evidence is of something happening. So I want to know, again, I think she's got this concept in her head that something happened, that Sebastian has left, and they have zero evidence to go on. It's not they have nothing to go on. She's not saying they've exhausted every avenue they can. It's they have zero evidence. You notice this is a compound question. There's two parts to it. What do police tell you at this point is number one, and what do they think is number two? And she only answers the first part of that question, which is what do police tell you? They have zero evidence. What do police think? She doesn't take on at all. She doesn't tell us what the police have told her the theories are. Why is that? Maybe the police haven't told her the theories. She doesn't say that. She doesn't say the police have not told me any theories. She wants to not take on that part of the question about what do the police think. Let's get some more from it.
I would just like to tell my son that I love him and to know that we are never going to stop searching.
So that goes, I would just like to tell my son I love him and to know that we are never going to stop searching. Well, why? Why would you never stop searching? Why would you never stop searching? Because if you know he's not going to be found. It's a very interesting way of describing that. It's not, we're never going to stop searching until he's found, or we're never going to stop working until he's home. It's just point blank, we are never going to stop searching. At the very best, that suggests she thinks there's a futility in the search for Sebastian. So that's the highlights of the interview. That's the bits that I pulled out. It doesn't change my mind on what I think happens. I think she knows what happened. It was that calm night that I don't think was so calm, and she knows that Sebastian left the house that night. And I think now, sadly, because we'd all like a positive resolution to this, but I don't think she holds out much hope that Sebastian is going to be found safe, which is kind of sad, and it must be a sad place for a mother to be. If you want more episodes like this, digging into the words that people...
So please go sub up to Never a Truer Word. They do have quite a few videos on this, and we'll go over some more. Lisa, prayers for you, honey. Prayers for your husband. I am so, so sorry that you're having to go through this, and I will talk to you on Messenger. I'm so sorry about that. I do also want to send out more prayers to Millie, my mod. Y'all know that she has lost her brother, and you haven't seen her in here because she's going through some other things. I don't know if she wants me to speak on that now or not, so I'm not going to. But just please continue to keep her in your prayers. It's really not good, so just let's keep her in your prayers. And a few more. Miss Ann, I heard from her. Y'all haven't seen her in a while. She does stay in the bushes. She called me today, and I think her surgery is set for June. I got the date wrote down in there, but she has another aneurysm on the other side of her brain. So I'm not going to tell everything she told me, but she's been in the hospital, and just things are not good all the way around. Lady Q is recuperating from surgery. Prayers to her, just prayers to everybody. Things are just not good. People never know what people are going through, and just many prayers. If you believe in prayers, just pray for everybody. I know I miss Miss Ann too. And Millie, if you're listening, Miss Ann told me to tell you, she said, and this proves I've been watching you. So she wanted you to know personally that she's very sorry about your loss of your brother. And I just wish everybody was not having all these problems. I love all of you, and I just wish you were not going through all this. So prayers for everybody. So y'all go sub up to Never a Truer Word, and let's play. I want to play one more video, and then I'm gonna Dear Sumner County some more. Hold on just a minute. Oh yeah, okay.
How y'all doing, guys? Good to see y'all. Hope you're
This
having
is
a
one of
great
my
day.
favorites,
I
Rich
wanted
and
to come on
Ruby.
for a minute and talk a little bit about Sebastian Rogers. While I'm working in the garden here, I'll visit with y'all a little bit. I'll be cutting some squash. I want to play a few of these older clips to refresh everybody's memory, you know. But before we get started on that, well, you know what? Let's play this one first.
I'm gonna turn the music off. You don't care.
One story, it mixed into three and caused a commotion. Well, they canceled that out. So the one on me, she shows up, and I said, "Hey, how you doing? It's her again." She's like, "Oh, hey." She's hey, I already don't. She's like, "Don't."
You just message me, Lisa, and let me know when you want to talk.
She goes, boo, boo, boo. She told me exactly what happened. I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "Oh my God." I said, "Yes, ma'am. This is how it's been." Sebastian thought by telling on me, making it sound like I was so horrible.
See how he tries to put it on himself? I'd be ashamed of himself. One thing I want to talk about, though, is, you know, Sebastian, he vanished. Well, he was last seen leaving the Roadhouse in Hendersonville, Tennessee, the Texas Roadhouse restaurant with his mother around 6:25 p.m. We know that they have dash cam for about 9 minutes after. And after that, that's it. He's never been seen or heard from ever again. It's really heartbreaking.
Hey,
Very
Val.
heartbreaking. And he was 15 at the time. He's autism, special needs, extra special kid. This is a kid that did not like to go outside without his shoes and socks on. I'm not going to say he had his cell phone glued to him because I don't know if that's the case. But supposedly, according to his mother, Katie Profit, the only one to see him last, the last person to see him, period. That's pretty powerful, right? The last person to see this child, period. And clearly, she says he took out the trash around, 8 p.m., which there's no proof of that because that a light bulb missing on the driveway. So whoever took out the trash took the trash out and kind of skipped back, but you can't tell who it is, right? It's too grainy, very grainy. You can't make out if it's Sebastian or if it's Katie. You could just tell the person's dressed in black, but we know when Katie left the Roadhouse, she was dressed in black too, with the hood on. Maybe that's why they said hoodie, right? Maybe because whatever took out the trash, maybe it was a hood. Maybe that's why we're trying to understand why they could. Remember, Katie had a shirt on with a hood on, a little jacket on with a hood on when she was at the restaurant.
Oh no, Melanie.
So that's her on short sleeve black t-shirt.
Prayers, honey. I hope not.
So that's never made sense to me either, but they've always pushed that he walked out the front door. Always told us front door, front door, front door, front door, front door. All the doors were locked that morning. The only door he could have went out and locked on his own, because that tells us he doesn't have a key, is the front door. That's why they state the front door, because it's the only door he could have went out and locked behind it. How did they know he didn't take a key with him? Maybe he had a key. Maybe he went out the back door. They never talk about that. They only say front door. And that brings me to this clip right here about the front door. This is the stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, right after this all went down.
Had been by the front door, punched in the code. Believe it or not, no, it's not super clear, but you would have seen a shadow or a figure.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And based on, something, one of the lights is still visible from that green camera from across the street.
Wow.
See?
Shout out to Smalley as well for catching that and getting that. There's so much out there, guys, that the lies and the inconsistent stories and this, that, and the other, right? It's a lot. I think this is the one with Vinny. Yeah, there's a part of Vinny I want to play a little bit of. It's about 11 minutes. But anyway, Sebastian's been missing since February 25th, 2024. That's the date on the flyer. That's the last time he was seen. There's been no sight, no peep, no dog scent trail, no nothing of this child. He didn't have a cell phone. He left evidently barefooted with a little keychain flashlight. And then the video came out with the flashlights behind their home. That broke a few weeks later. Evidently, we weren't supposed to see that, but we did. Law enforcement tried to kind of scale it down a little bit, but wouldn't tell what it was because they said it might play a role in the case. So we know it plays a role in the case, so he wouldn't say it like that. He'd have just told us flat out, hey, no, it's two people, whatever, right? We know it wasn't a trash truck, which is what they tried to make it out to be. It's just sad, this kid always had a smile on his face, always happy. His biological father Seth Rogers lives in Clarksville, a little ways away, but always had him on his weekends, took him fishing, took him to game and playing. He loved playing video games. There's so much, but the parents have just never, the stories have changed so much. I mean, every profiler out there says Katie's responsible. What's the odds of that? Not good odds for her. I mean, if you think about it, not really good odds for her, right? Because that means they're all thinking that she is. But that clip about the front door, that's the one that gets me the most because he always told us, and she always told us he went out the front door, but then stepdad tells us, we'll do it again. I like this clip.
Had been by the front door, punched in the code. Believe it or not, no, it's not super clear, but you would have seen a shadow or a figure.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And based on, something, one of the lights is still visible from that green camera from across the street.
See, that's just always bothered me because you tell us one thing for so long and then this comes out, you tell us something totally different. It's like, hold on, I thought you said he went out the front door. Now you're telling us he couldn't have gone out the front door? I mean, what's going on here? Where's Sebastian Rogers? Where is he? Take a look at the face. Spread it again. Spread it, spread it, spread it. Keep his face out there. We cannot let this fade, and it is fading. We cannot let that happen.
Nope.
I just want to take a few minutes just to kind of bring a little awareness for Sebastian and while I was working in the garden and just come out and say, put this little bit out there. There's so much more we're going to do, but we're going to do a few different ones today. But I kind of wanted to make this one about that clip because this case was always about the front door. He left out the front door, front door, front door, front door. But yet he tells us right there, no way he could have went out the front door. So think about that. Did he go out the front door? Did he not go out the front door? Could he have gone out of the front door or could he have not gone out of the front door? Right? That's the question. That's the $1 million question to me. So I wish they would make that crystal clear why he tells us he went out the front door, then tells us he couldn't go out the front door. He's never answered that, It's like he's never taken a polygraph and been asked the hard questions. He won't answer the hard questions. He's scared of the hard questions. But it's just sad that the way they've been able to get away with this whole time, because to me, in my opinion, 100% they're guilty. And I'm not going to change my mind on that. I mean, I know everyone's innocent in the court of law until proven guilty, but, you know, innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Y'all know what I'm saying. I'm tired. But
He said he's not in
you
a
know,
court of
that
law.
type of stuff is, I mean, I'm entitled to give my opinions. I'm going to do it. My free speech, and I'm going to use it. My alleged bubble protects me, but y'all's comments, of course, are y'all's and y'all's alone, not to affect channel. We do our research together, guys. We are a big heart little family. Trigger warnings always. What the truth about Sebastian Rogers? Are we ever going to get the truth? Are we ever going to get the truth? I think that's what I'm going to title this video. Will we ever get the truth? Because will we ever get the truth to the front door? Let's do that. Will we ever get the truth to the front door? The truth. Because what is the truth? Mama says he left the front door. Stepdaddy says, nope, you ain't getting out my front door or even coming to my front door without being seen on the neighbor's ring camera. Make it make sense. Justice for Sebastian Rogers, guys. Let's keep him in our thoughts, keep him in our prayers. I know he's kind of fading, but go ahead and set an extra seat at your table tonight for Sebastian. Say a little prayer at dinner.
Amen.
Whatever it takes to keep his face out here, we got to do, guys. Because we're not going to stop. We don't stop on any of them. Y'all know that. Summer Wells, Harley Morris, Nikki McCann, Susan Simpson. The list goes on, right? Now we got Jackie Lilly. I'm curious to see how that case is going to go. I think something's fixing to go down. But then again, I've been thinking that in Sebastian Rogers since November. So I don't know. It could be another one. Like Stephanie Darwin in these cases. It's just sad. But anyway, guys, trigger warnings always. Y'all know that. But poor Sebastian needs our help. He needs our prayers. He needs our thoughts. He needs our kind words. We need
I'm
to stick
scared they
together.
Alicia.
Keep this kid's face out there. Until we're proven otherwise, right? Right now, I look at every missing kid case the same way Canada does. It's suspicious until proven otherwise. That's how I see it. Runaway's the same thing. Because they're trying to tell us Sebastian ran away. And we know he didn't go out that front door or he'd have been seen on camera. They told us that. So we got to go with what they say, right? Then we got to wonder about what they said in the beginning. But, you know, that'll work. Law enforcement will work that out, I'm sure. Anyway, guys, keep them in your thoughts, prayers. Keep all the missing, all the runaways, your thoughts and prayers. We love y'all, guys. We'll see y'all soon. All right, guys.
Y'all go sub up to Rich and Ruby. I like him. He comes on every day and he always mentions all the missing kids. And he's right. Do what it takes to keep Sebastian's name out there. Do what it takes to, you know, whatever you got to do. And I agree with him as well. Sharon, it's a very big possibility. And like he said, Chris, he told me if he would have went out that front door, they would have saw him. The camera would have caught him. And also in that interview, he said they would have seen the shadow from the door opening. You know, you can't have your cake and eat it too, and ice cream and all that. Hey, Scotty. So which one was it? It keeps changing all the time. But I do feel like in those earlier interviews, at least they wasn't adapting. So I think there was a little bit more truth to those. I mean, I do feel that. You know, and then I think they started watching and seeing what people were saying and public opinion was going on. And, you know, they started changing and just trying to adapt to everything. God, I know, Holly. I know. Excuse me. But it's just all wild. It really is. But I did want to say, you know, dear Sumner County and TBI for that matter. But dear Sumner County, will there be any pressers? I think we already touched on that. Anytime soon, because there needs to be. Dear Sumner County, do you plan any ground searches? Dear Sumner County, why can't you find Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers? You know, we go over this every time. You can find everybody else. You can find who you want to find. I'll tell you that. You can find who you want to find. Dear Sumner County, are you still getting leads? Are you really following up on leads? Harley said, Dear Sumner County, can you do anything? One little thing to let us know you're still involved and looking for Sebastian? Dear Sumner County, will you get justice for Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers? Dear Sumner County, where are you? This is your job. And last but not least, dear Sumner County, you took an oath. Remember that? You took an oath. We're not going anywhere. Anybody listening, I'm not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. Remember, dear Sumner County, you took an oath. One last thing. Dear Sumner County, Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers, he is your problem. You need to solve it. Dear Katie Lynn Proudfoot, Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers is your son. You birthed him. You know what happened to him, in my opinion? Whatever punishment fits the crime, I guess. But it's time to come clean. Walk in there, make a deal. You know how to handle things. You're not stupid. You're his mother, and it's your job. It is your job to clear this up. And again, tell your husband, we don't want to be studying this case for years to come. We're going to find out one way or another. If anybody out there knows, thinks they know, or has any information pertaining to any of these people that could have anything to do with the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, or feel you know where Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is, either way, please let law enforcement know. That includes Sumner County, 615-451-3838, TBI 1-800-TBI-FIND, or tips to TBI at tbi.10.gov. Call FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, or out in the whole number form is 1-800-225-5324. Or you can submit tips to tips at http:/tips.fbi.gov/. And last but not least, you can call Dog the Bounty Hunter and his team at 1-833-TELL-DOG. Just make sure if you have information that you don't sit on it. You don't wait days, hours, weeks, months. If you are a neighbor and you haven't turned over camera footage, please do so. If you have been told something by Katie Lynn Proudfoot, or think you've overheard something by Chris or Katie, or you have worked with these people, or the Bauer Sox, or anything that might give help to law enforcement to trace down Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, either way, to bring closure to this case, call it in, walk it in, use the tip line. Let's get this case over with and get justice for Sebastian, and get Sebastian home. Get Sebastian. He deserves to be found. Okay? He don't need to be out there. And Sebastian, if you can hear this, any way, shape, or form, if you ever hear this and you are out there, just know everybody is looking for you. Your daddy loves you. You are loved. And you're going to be found. You will be found. You have so many friends. You are going to be found. We will never give up. Y'all keep the hope and the faith. Love y'all. Peace out.